Hello, my beautiful friends. My name is Clara Vance, and if you are tuning into this channel today, prepare yourselves because this story is a wild ride from start to finish. Before we dive into the juicy details, drop a comment down below and let me know where in the world you are watching from tonight. Also, if you love real-life drama with a sweet, cold dish of justice, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell notification so you never miss a single upload. Now, let me take you back to a rainy Tuesday evening in spring. Standing outside the gilded floor-to-ceiling glass doors of the Grand Luminare, the most exclusive event space in the city. Inside, chandeliers cast a warm, buttery glow over 200 guests dressed in silks and tailored tuxedos. My younger sister, Chloe, was celebrating her lavish engagement party. For months, the family group chat had been buzzing with color palettes, champagne tastings, and florist consultations. I was omitted from every single message, omitted from the planning, and ultimately, left off the official guest list entirely. I only found out about the party through a mutual acquaintance who casually asked if I needed a ride. When I arrived in a tailored charcoal gown, holding a sleek leather document portfolio under my arm, the air in the foyer turned instantly frigid. Chloe, decked out in shimmering white tulle, sauntered over with a glass of vintage Dom Perignon in hand, her eyes scanning me with practiced condescension. "We accidentally left you out," my sister joked, a thin, cruel smirk playing on her lips as a few nearby relatives giggled softly. Beside her, my mother adjusted her pearl necklace and pointed directly toward the heavy mahogany exit doors without missing a beat. "You're ruining the aesthetic, Clara. Leave before someone notices you." I didn't flinch, nor did I lower my gaze. Instead, I straightened my spine, smoothed down the front of my dress, and smiled coolly. "No problem. Looks like memory failed us both." They thought I meant I had forgotten I wasn't wanted. They assumed I would scurry out into the rain like the timid, overlooked older daughter who had quietly endured years of financial leeching and emotional neglect. For a decade, I had been the family workhorse, quietly paying off my mother's mounting debts and bankrolling Chloe's failed boutique ventures while they treated me like an embarrassing afterthought. They never bothered to ask what I did with my long hours or where my hard-earned capital was being invested. They just assumed the river of money would flow forever without a source. Instead of leaving, I walked calmly past my mother's outstretched arm and took a seat at a quiet corner table near the grand ballroom orchestra. Chloe sneered, whispering to her fiancé that security would handle me soon enough, but curiously, no security guards ever approached my table. In fact, every member of the venue staff who passed by bowed their heads respectfully, refilling my sparkling water before I even had to ask. My mother spent the next hour throwing dark glares across the room, completely oblivious to the silent machinery already whirring behind the scenes. By the time the clock struck 9, the evening reached its absolute crescendo: cake time. The venue's master pastry chef wheeled out a 6-tiered edible masterpiece adorned with gold leaf worth thousands of dollars. The crowd gathered round, holding up their phones, clinking their crystal glasses, waiting for the ceremonial toast. Chloe stood beside the grand table, glowing under the spotlight, ready to deliver her grand speech thanking our mother for funding this fairy tale night. That was when the venue manager, dressed in a sharp black suit, stepped onto the elevated stage, took the microphone from the DJ, and gently cleared his throat. The room fell into an expectant hush, assuming he was about to introduce the glowing couple. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen," the manager announced, his voice echoing clearly through the high-ceilinged hall. "Before we proceed with the cake cutting and toasts, I have an urgent announcement regarding the immediate status of this event." My mother frowned, while Chloe's confident smile faltered. The manager cleared his throat again, adjusting his lapel as 2 burly security guards quietly positioned themselves near the main entrance. As per the explicit instructions of the sole property owner, all services, catering, and venue access for tonight's function are officially suspended. The card provided on file for event costs was declined 3 days ago, and the grace period has expired without resolution. A collective gasp swept through the room like a sudden gust of wind. Chloe's jaw dropped, her face draining of color as she whirled around to face our mother. My mother instantly snapped, her voice piercing through the stunned silence. "This is an absolute outrage. Do you have any idea who we are? My daughter's fiancé comes from money, and my eldest daughter, Clara, pays our line of credit." She aggressively scanned the crowd, her eyes landing squarely on me, sitting calmly in the back with my glass of sparkling water. Clara, get up here right now. Hand them your corporate card and fix this ridiculous mistake before you ruin your sister's life. I didn't move an inch. I simply took a slow, deliberate sip of my drink, letting the heavy silence linger until every eye in the room shifted from my red-faced mother to me. I'm afraid Clara can't authorize that payment, ma'am, the manager interrupted smoothly, looking directly at my mother with icy professionalism. Because Miss Clara Vance isn't just a guest you asked to leave tonight. She is the founder and majority shareholder of Vance Hospitality Group. She owns this venue, the catering company, and the deed to the boutique building your daughter currently leases. You could have heard a pin drop on the marble floor. Chloe stared at me in total, paralyzed horror, the microphone slipping slightly in her hand. For 10 years, they had mocked my late nights, called my business trips a waste of time, and treated me like an ATM while remaining completely ignorant of the empire I was building under my maiden name. They assumed I was just a mid-level manager working for someone else. They never realized I was the someone else. 3 months ago, when I quietly bought out the debt on Chloe's failing fashion boutique and acquired the Grand Luminare, I discovered my mother had forged my signature to put up my childhood home as collateral for this very party. I didn't call the police. I didn't throw a scene. I simply froze the fraudulent line of credit 48 hours before the event, waiting to see if either of them would show a shred of decent humanity toward me. Their cruelty at the door had sealed their fate. Effective immediately, the manager continued, his voice ringing crisp and clear over the speakers. The lease on Chloe's boutique has been terminated for breach of contract, and the legal department has initiated foreclosure proceedings on the residential property associated with the defaulted account. Whispers erupted like wildfire among the wealthy guests. Chloe's fiancé took a slow step backward, his eyes wide with shock before quietly slipping into the crowd and leaving her standing alone by the 6-tiered cake. The fairy tale was crumbling in real time, brick by luxurious brick. My mother stumbled back, clutching her pearl necklace as if it were a lifeline, while Chloe burst into hysterical, frantic tears. Ditching her pristine white train, my sister practically sprinted across the ballroom, falling to her knees right beside my table. Tears streamed down her face, ruining her heavy makeup as she grabbed the edge of my tablecloth. "Clara, please!" She sobbed uncontrollably, her voice cracking with a desperation I had never heard in her life. "Please, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't do this to us. Please stay and fix this. We need you, Clara. I'll do anything, just don't leave us." My mother rushed over seconds later, completely stripped of her earlier arrogance, her hands trembling as she reached out to touch my shoulder. "Clara, baby, we're family. It was just a silly joke at the door. You know we love you." I stood up slowly, smoothing the front of my charcoal gown, and looked down at both of them without a single ounce of anger left in my heart, only absolute, crystal-clear liberation. I leaned in close to my sister, mirroring the exact thin smirk she had given me at the entrance. "I'd love to stay," I whispered softly, just loud enough for the surrounding guests to hear. "But you said it yourself, Chloe. You left me out." I picked up my leather portfolio, turned my back on their desperate pleas, and walked out into the cool evening air, leaving them to face the bill, the truth, and the absolute dark alone.